Josh bought a baby monitor camera for his apartment, not because he had a baby, he lived alone, but his apartment had been broken into twice in the past month, and the landlord refused to install security cameras in the hallway. So, Josh bought a cheap Wi-Fi camera off Amazon, one of those that connects to your phone, records motion, sends alerts. He set it up pointing at his front door from across the living room. At least I'll see who's coming in, he thought. The first night, he got 17 motion alerts, all between 2 and 5 a.m. Josh woke up groggy, checked his phone, and scrolled through the recordings. Every single one was the same. His bedroom door, visible in the background of the camera's view, slowly opening, then closing, then opening again. But Josh lived alone. He got up and checked his apartment. Every window locked, front door deadbolted, nobody there. Wind, he told himself. Old building, settling foundations. He went back to sleep. The next night, 32 alerts. This time, the bedroom door didn't just open and close. In the recordings, Josh could see himself walking out of the bedroom, standing in the living room, staring directly at the camera for minutes at a time. Completely still, eyes open, not blinking. Then turning around and walking back into the bedroom. Josh's hands shook as he watched the footage. He had no memory of this. None. He'd slept through the entire night. He checked the timestamps. 2:17 a.m., 2:34 a.m., 2:58 a.m., 3:12 a.m. Over and over. He'd gotten up 7 times. Sleepwalking, Josh muttered. I'm sleepwalking. Stress. The break-ins messed me up. But he'd never sleptwalked in his life. The third night, Josh forced himself to stay awake. He sat in bed, lights on, staring at his bedroom door. At 2:15 a.m., his phone buzzed.
Josh's blood went ice cold. He was in bed, awake. He hadn't moved. With trembling hands, he opened the app and watched the live feed. The camera showed his living room, empty front door, empty couch, and his bedroom door closed. Then, as Josh watched in real time, the door slowly opened. He could see himself through the doorway, lying in bed, exactly where he was right now. But in the camera feed, the him in bed sat up, turned to look at the door, smiled. Josh's stomach dropped. He was lying in bed right now. He wasn't sitting up. He wasn't smiling. The Josh in the camera stood up and walked toward the lens, getting closer, closer. The real Josh couldn't breathe. He looked at his bedroom door. It was still closed. He looked back at his phone. The other Josh was now standing directly in front of the camera, filling the entire frame. Same face, same pajamas, but the eyes were wrong. Too wide, too dark. The other Josh raised one finger and pointed directly at the camera. Then he mouthed 2 words. I'm here. The camera went black. Josh grabbed a baseball bat and ran into the living room. The camera was lying on the floor, disconnected. The lens was cracked. Nobody else was there. He searched every closet, every corner, under the bed, in the bathroom. Nothing. Josh didn't sleep for 3 days. He threw the camera away, bought new locks, installed a chain on the door, told himself it was over. But a week later, his phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Camera back online. Josh's heart stopped. He'd thrown that camera in a dumpster 5 blocks away. He opened the app. The feed was active, but it wasn't showing his apartment. It was showing a bedroom he didn't recognize. Dark, sparse furniture, a bed in the center, and someone sleeping in it. Josh squinted at the screen. The person was lying on their side, face partially visible in the dim light. It looked like him. Josh looked down at his own bed. He was sitting up, phone in hand, very much awake. But in the feed, he was asleep. The camera angle shifted slightly, moving closer to the sleeping Josh's face. Nobody was holding the camera. It was moving on its own. Josh watched in horror as the camera in the feed slowly panned across the sleeping version of himself, down his body, across the bed, then to the bedroom door, which was opening. Someone was walking into the room in the feed, a dark figure, featureless, moving toward the bed where the other Josh slept. The figure stopped at the edge of the bed, reached out one hand towards sleeping Josh's face. The real Josh couldn't move, couldn't look away. The figure's hand hovered inches from the sleeping Josh's mouth. Then the sleeping Josh's eyes snapped open. He looked directly at the camera, directly at the real Josh, and smiled. The feed cut to black. Josh's bedroom door creaked open. He didn't scream, couldn't. His voice was gone. Josh slowly turned his head toward his bedroom door. It was open now. He'd locked it. He knew he'd locked it. The hallway beyond was dark. His phone buzzed. New recording available. Josh didn't want to look. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to get out, to leave the apartment and never come back. But his thumb moved on its own. The recording loaded. It was time-stamped from 30 seconds ago. The camera was back online. The angle showed his living room again, the view from where he'd originally set it up. But the camera was in the dumpster, 5 blocks away. Unless...
Josh's eyes moved to the corner of his living room where he'd placed the camera that first night. There was nothing there now, just empty space. He looked back at the recording. The feed showed his apartment, his couch, his TV, his coffee table, and his bedroom door, open. The camera was inside his apartment, right now, recording. In the feed, Josh could see himself sitting on his bed, looking at his phone, looking at this exact recording. He was watching himself watch himself. The Josh in the recording slowly looked up from his phone, looked toward the living room, toward where the camera must be. The real Josh did the same. He scanned his living room desperately. Where was it? Where was the camera? In the recording, the other Josh stood up, started walking toward the camera's position. The real Josh felt his legs move. He was standing, walking. He wasn't controlling it. His body walked into the living room, moving exactly like the Josh in the recording. Same steps, same rhythm. The recording showed the other Josh getting closer to the camera. The real Josh kept walking, pulled by invisible strings. In the recording, the other Josh stopped directly in front of the lens. The real Josh stopped too, right in the middle of his living room. But there was no camera there. Nothing. The other Josh in the recording smiled, then reached forward and picked up the camera, turning it around. The view shifted. Now the camera was facing backward, showing what the other Josh was looking at. It was the real Josh, standing in his living room, holding his phone, frozen. The camera was filming from inside his phone. The recording showed the real Josh's face from his phone's perspective, terrified, confused. Then the phone grew hot in his hands, burning hot. Josh tried to drop it. His fingers wouldn't open. The phone screen flickered. His face in the recording started to distort, stretching, melting. Josh felt his face tingling, going numb. He looked at his reflection in the TV screen. His features were blurring, smoothing out, becoming featureless, like the dark figure from the recording. The phone fell from his hands and clattered to the floor. Josh tried to scream. No sound came out. He had no mouth anymore. The phone buzzed on the floor. The screen showed one final notification. Recording saved. Josh underscore replacement underscore final dot mp4. Upload complete. The last thing Josh saw before everything went dark was his own body picking up the phone. But it wasn't him anymore. The thing wearing his face smiled with teeth that were too white and too sharp. It opened the camera app and started a new recording.